I found the archive during the third week of my thesis research, buried in a forum thread about digital preservation gone wrong. Most of what I studied was mundane: dead GeoCities pages, abandoned forums, the digital exhaust of a species that never learned to let anything go. The archive was different. It was a plain black page with a single white line of text. Upload what you want gone. It will be gone. No ads, no comments, no explanation. I uploaded a home video as a joke, just something stupid from when I was 9, filmed on my dad's camcorder, me falling off a bike in the driveway. I typed my name into the caption field because the site asked for one, hit submit, and forgot about it within the hour. I had thesis chapters to write. 3 days later, I went looking for that clip on the shared family drive where my mom kept everything digitized. It wasn't there. I figured she'd reorganize the folders. I called her, and she said she hadn't touched the drive in months. I asked her to check the actual VHS tape, the physical one, still sitting in a box in my parents' garage. She called me back an hour later, her voice strange. "It's blank," she said. "The whole tape. I don't understand it, we just watched part of it at Christmas." I told myself tapes degrade. That's a real thing that happens. I didn't think about the archive again until I noticed my thesis advisor's email address had bounced twice in 1 week. And when I asked him about it in person, he looked at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. "I don't think we've met," he said. He was my advisor. I had been in his office 4 days earlier. That was the first time the fear became specific instead of vague. I went back to the archive that night and searched the upload history, if you could call it that. It wasn't organized by date or user, just an endless unlabeled scroll of file thumbnails, thousands of them, each one a tiny gray square with no metadata. I recognized nothing. I had no way to find my own upload again, no confirmation number, no account. It had simply taken the file and disappeared it, along with everything else attached to it. I started keeping a list. Every person who appeared in that home video, even in the background, even for half a second. My mother, who filmed it. My father, whose voice you could hear off camera telling me to get back on the bike. A neighbor kid named Danny who rode past on his own bike, right as the tape ended. I called Danny's mother, someone I hadn't spoken to in 15 years, and asked if she remembered him. There was a long pause. "I'm sorry, who is this again?" she said. "I don't have kids." I sat in my car outside her house, running through explanations. Bad memory, divorce, a block number confusing her. None of it held once I remembered the bounced emails, the blank tape, my advisor's blank face. I cross-referenced old yearbooks and school directories, and found that half of what I remembered as documented fact now returned nothing at all. My mother started forgetting details first, small ones. What year we got the dog, what Danny's last name was. Then the photographs I printed began coming back blank at the edges, a strange bleaching that crept in from the corners like the paper itself was giving up its information. I stopped sleeping. I stopped going to campus, because I couldn't shake the feeling that if I stayed away long enough, I might stop existing to the people there too, the way my advisor almost had. I went back to the archive one final time, telling myself I would find a way to contact whoever ran it, beg them to stop, admit I'd made a mistake. The upload page loaded like always, black screen, white text, but this time, at the very bottom, there was a new thumbnail I hadn't seen before. I don't know why I clicked it, some instinct that already knew. It opened to a scanned image, high resolution, official looking, my passport photo, the one from 4 years ago, the one only I should have had access to, uploaded with a timestamp from that morning. I never uploaded it. I checked my email, my files, every account I owned. There was no record of it anywhere except on that screen, staring back at me, my own face already halfway erased. I found the account on a forum I only visited when I couldn't sleep. One of those low-traffic message boards where people post half-finished thoughts at 3 in the morning. Someone had linked to a profile as an example of creepy old internet accounts, the kind of thing people share for a laugh. The username was my full name, not a version of it, not a close match. My first name, my middle name, my last name, all lowercase, no numbers. I clicked it assuming it was a coincidence, or maybe an old account of mine I'd forgotten about and never deleted. It wasn't. The bio listed my hometown and my birthday, exactly right, down to the year. and the earliest post was dated 9 years ago when I would have been 16, an age at which I barely used the internet at all, let alone this particular forum. It described in plain, almost bored language, a car accident I was in during my sophomore year of college. Details I never posted anywhere. The make of the other car, the intersection, the fact that I cried afterward alone, before calling anyone. I told myself someone who knew me had made the account as a prank, gone back and edited the post dates. I checked the account's history through an archive tool that crawls and stores old versions of web pages. The post about the accident had been indexed and saved 2 full years before the accident happened. I did what anyone would do. I tried to break it. I had plans that weekend to visit my sister in Ohio. Plans only she and I knew about, made over a phone call, nothing written down anywhere. I canceled them last minute and drove to a cabin upstate instead, telling no one, not even my sister, until I was already there. 3 days later, a new post appeared on the account. It didn't mention Ohio at all. It described the cabin, the color of the deck chairs, the fact that I'd sat outside at night without a jacket and regretted it. I stopped sleeping well after that. I started reading through years of posts, cataloging them in a spreadsheet with dates on one column and real-world confirmation on the other, trying to find a pattern, a source, anything that would let me explain it away. Most entries were mundane. The account seemed less interested in dramatic events and more in small decisions, the kind nobody would bother predicting unless they already knew exactly how my mind worked. Which coffee shop I'd choose when 2 were nearby. Which job offer I'd take when I hadn't even applied yet. Which friend I'd stop returning calls to, months before I actually stopped. Reading them felt like reading a diary I hadn't written, one that understood the shape of my hesitations better than I understood them myself, that could see the decision forming before I'd admitted it to anyone. I began digging into who might be behind it. I paid for a reverse lookup service, contacted the forum's admins, filed a report with the hosting company, none of which produced anything useful. The account had no email tied to it that anyone would share, no IP logs available to a stranger. What I did find eventually, buried in an old thread from years earlier, was a comment from someone claiming to know the account's owner personally, calling them patient and thorough, and saying they'd been doing this for more people than just me. The comment was deleted within an hour of me finding it, but not before I'd taken a screenshot. I started noticing things differently after that. A coworker who always seemed to nudge conversations in specific directions, asking questions that led me toward decisions I later thought were my own idea. A landlord who asked oddly detailed questions about my plans before I'd made them, framed as small talk. Even my sister once mentioned something about my job search that I hadn't told her, then laughed it off as a guess. I couldn't prove anyone was involved, and that was almost worse, because it meant the shaping could be coming from anywhere, from anyone who'd ever had access to my life, quietly steering small choices for years until they added up to a person who behaved exactly the way the account already knew I would. I decided to end it the only way I could. I reported the account until it was suspended, then reported it again under a different policy until the platform finally deleted it outright. I watched the profile disappear, the way you watch something you're not sure is really gone. For one night, I let myself believe it was over. The next morning, a notification came through from an account I didn't recognize. Blank profile, no posts, created hours earlier. I found the site through a link someone dropped in an ARG Discord, the kind of community that treats every weird URL like a puzzle waiting to be solved. The page itself was nothing much to look at, a plain gray background, a scrolling list of first names, cities, ages, and countdown timers next to small numbers labeled current bid. No explanation, no rules, no contact information. People in the Discord assumed it was a viral marketing stunt for some indie game. I bookmarked it and forgot about it for 2 weeks. Then I opened it again out of boredom, scrolled through the list, and saw my own first name next to my age and my city. The countdown next to it read 11 days. The bid number was climbing slowly, a few dollars every couple of hours, like someone was testing the waters. I told myself it was a coincidence. My name isn't rare, my city isn't small, but the age was exact, down to the year I was born, and something about seeing it there, updating in real time, made it hard to close the tab and go back to normal life. I refreshed it obsessively for the next 2 days, watching the number climb, telling no one, because saying it out loud made it sound insane even to me. The problem started small enough that I didn't connect them at first. My credit card was declined at a gas station, even though I knew the balance was fine. I called the bank, and they said everything looked normal on their end. No holds, no flags. I chalked it up to a system error. 2 days later, my key fob stopped working at my own apartment building. The front desk guy, someone I saw almost every day, looked at me like I was a stranger, trying to talk my way inside. He asked for ID. My photo on file, he said, didn't look like me anymore. At work, a coworker I'd eaten lunch with dozens of times introduced herself to me in the break room like we'd never met. I laughed it off as a bad joke until I saw her face, genuinely confused, genuinely certain she didn't know who I was. I checked our project management software that afternoon and found my name removed from 3 ongoing projects, replaced with someone else's, someone I didn't recognize, but who apparently now had my job title. I went back to the site. The countdown had dropped to 4 days. The bid had climbed steadily, and beneath the number a new field had appeared that hadn't been there before, a small line reading, "Leading bidder verified." I didn't know what verified meant in that context, and I didn't want to. I tried calling the DMV to confirm my license was still valid. The representative read my information back to me, and it was almost right, except for 1 digit in my address and a middle name that wasn't mine. When I corrected her, she told me, politely, that the system showed no error, and that if I believed there was a mistake, I should come in person with proof of identity, which, she added, I should already have on hand. By the 3rd day, I stopped trying to explain any of it individually. Every event on its own had a boring, plausible reason. Banks glitch, photo IDs get flagged for expiration, coworkers forget faces. But stacked together, over the same 11 days as a countdown that was about to hit 0, I could no longer pretend they were unrelated. I tried calling old friends to ask if I sounded like myself, if anything felt off about our last conversation, and most of them said no, though one paused a beat too long before answering. I packed a bag and left town before the timer ran out, driving until I reached a small motel 2 states away, paying cash, using a name that wasn't mine because I no longer trusted that mine still belonged to me. I checked the site one last time from a library computer. The countdown had ended. My name was gone from the list entirely, replaced by nothing, no closing bid displayed. I told myself that meant it was over. Months later, back in my home state under a different name, I saw a local news segment about a man with my old name, my old face, living in my old apartment, working my old job, smiling for a community award ceremony I'd never attended. I called the police that night to report identity theft. They ran my information and told me flatly that the man in the segment was who their record showed living at that address, and that I matched no one currently registered under that name at all.